I mean, I woke up in a really good mood today. I did. And my day is only getting better. And like, this is such a pattern now. It just is. So I just wrapped up in Gadget code on the latest here in Gadget News, which is a personal use tool. This is not something that I intend to offer as, some SaaS or whatever. It runs locally. It's intended to run locally. I'm not even logged in. There is no login. It's an application that runs on my desktop. It's not super common to log into those. Anyway, what I can do in here, right, is define a bunch of feeds that it will monitor for inspiration. It's not reading the web page to you. That is not what this does. Give me a minute. So I define a bunch of feeds so that it can, generally speaking, know what people are talking about in AI and tech, right? And this is my development environment. There will be so many more feeds. However, I can then define topics, okay? And each of them, I can edit a topic. I can enable and disable a topic. So if it's something I want the engine to focus on, I turn it on. And if it's something we're ignoring or de-emphasizing right now, I turn it off. That's how I manage topics. Again, development environment. There will be so many more topics. On that, I then build agents which are capable of producing things in a certain tone, with a certain bias, with a certain framing, with a whatever. So for example, my editor agent, this is the orchestrator. It's the thing that makes the work happen. It uses researcher and author as subagents, all of which are completely definable and configurable. I mean, down to the temperature, top K, top P, context size, and maximum output tokens. You have more control than is normal in a tool like this, and that's why I'm building it. So, you define agents that know how to do a job, and you tell them what model to use. So in my local testing here, I'm using Gemma 412B for the more literary tasks, and I'm using Ornith 9B, which, if you're not up on that, that's QN 3.5 sort of with a little bit of a brain surgery going on, and it is just chef's kiss for doing like tool calling, exactly this, like research, things like that. It does not miss. And, again, this is my local testing environment. I don't want a token tax on this stuff, right? When I'm using this for its production purposes, these will be bolted to models like GLM 5.3, DeepSeek, you know what I mean? So anyway, that is agents, okay? I get the scroll. This is my own news feed, and I can go through and actually read the news. I find it helpful, so I had it add that. I also get news reports. Now, these are edited like this, and this is just my test report. You give it a description. You give it more schedule if you want more schedule, but for right now, I have it running daily at 10 a.m., which it does do successfully. You tell it what it's generating. Is this creating drafts which are meant to be humanized, or does this just go straight to production, right? You select your agent to perform the various tasks, right? So I have my editor for producing the scroll. I have my researcher for producing the scroll. I have my author for producing the scroll. That's my brand. Let me be brief with you. The scroll. And so I then pick which TTS voice I want to use. I'm using Kokoro. So I'm not going to get into it. It's an 87 million with an M parameter model that outputs flawless speech. Very clear. And it doesn't devolve or whatever the hell is going on in some of these other models. Okay, it doesn't do that. I then select which sources I want. My test feed, give me them all. And then, it's telling you your next episode number. It treats each of these like a podcast, basically, but your next episode number is going to be 6. And that is, it felt the need to tell you that this is read-only information. I don't argue with my robot down to details like that. I figure it must know what it's doing. I'm going to leave it alone. So anyway, what I can do is at any time I can generate the report, right? Which I've done many times here in testing. And so you see, yeah, we've been working on it. but oh my. The end result is kind of phenomenal. So basically that editor agent, the orchestrator, is responsible for producing what you're seeing on the screen right now. Okay, so what you're seeing on the screen right now is a report that is made of segments. Each segment has a title, a caption, a sources list, and also some generated resources. We generate some audio. So we have an intro script, we have the content script, and we have an image prompt, okay? So the author agent is responsible for writing this content and this content. The editor is responsible for creating the image prompt, and it will go through and do that happily for each segment in the report. And I can see all of that. I can also go over to this diagnostics view, and I can expand out and see all of the thinking that goes into it, and I can see the prompt that was given to the sub-agent. I can see that, this is the research sub-agent, and I can see its thinking and its searches and all of it fully observable. So this helps you in the diagnostics and understanding how your agents are actually interacting, the conversations that are happening under the hood. And, I need to add some formatting here. Like, for example, when we know it's a JSON response, it can, do a nice formatted syntax highlighted JSON. But again, first result, not a one shot. This involved 3 total prompts, but first result. Okay, I'm going to be iterating on this for like weeks to come. And then we have the actual media view where I can go in and I can see exactly what got generated. Like you have an image light box for looking at the images. Again, it's generating the prompts. These are bespoke reports, right? It is not, like I said, just reading you the web page. It does its own research on topics that it knows are being talked about, as a result of looking at the headlines from, a collection of RSS feeds filtered through some topics, executed by highly configurable agents, generating reports using a report configuration, not a small system, not a trivial system. It is, I am hosting Kokodoro locally. So it's doing local inference, and I don't even remember what image model I'm using. It might be Grok, it might be Kriya. I don't remember which model I'm using right now. So let me go ahead and I'm going to fade this music down, and I will just let it play like one segment from this current report.
As machine learning continues to drive advancements in robotics, the physical infrastructure required to power these models is seeing massive investment. The market for optical interconnects in AI data centers is projected to hit $144 billion by 2030, a tenfold increase from current figures. This growth is driven largely by silicon photonics and co-packaged optics, which are essential for the high-speed communication required between GPUs. Additionally, developers are successfully running specialized models on limited hardware, such as the Bonsai model on small GPU setups. These advancements ensure that even as AI models grow in complexity, the infrastructure can keep pace with the demands of modern robotics and machine learning.
Right. So, it goes through and generates these, multi-segment reports. And the reason that, you have these segments, right? Each with an intro, content, and an image is because of what is going to be happening over here. So just try to understand that, the base is 3JS. There is an HTML5 HUD, which you're seeing rendered over top. That's, for example, how the ticker is implemented. And this will be driving live streams, let's just call it that, as well as rendering shareable media that I can publish pretty much anywhere. The 1080p version, 16:9 aspect ratio, that'll go to YouTube. The vertical shorts will go to other platforms. And it's basically a fully automated content production pipeline that delivers a virtual newsroom that is that manageable. The entirety of this was created without using Anthropic or open AI technologies. Enjoy the scroll.